PNR Networks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNR Networks. And thanks for your support.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
It's Kim versus TC in the battle of the lists.
My list is better.
My list is better.
My list is better.
No, it's not. My list is better.
Kim or TC, who has the better list? From Subject Cinema, this is Front Row 5 and 10 with Kim Brown and TC Kirkham.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week here at Front Row 5 and 10, brought to you by the good people that bring you Subject Cinema. That would be him and me, the me being Kim Brown.
The him being TC Kirkham. Hello.
Hey.
This is where we do our special list countdowns, although it's going to be a little bit different this week.
Mm-hmm.
We hope that you will, give us suggestions for lists to do on this show. You can do so by writing to us at frontrow@PNRNetworks.com. And if we use your list, you'll get a mention and a shout-out on the show and a shout-out on, wherever the show gets posted. So,
and our undying love and gratitude.
That too. So this week was my choice. Mm-hmm. And I decided to go a different direction instead of doing what we normally do. I wanted to help our listeners. Now, if you've never listened to Subject Cinema, if you're new to this show and have just listened to Front Row 5 and 10, and it has happened, I'm sure, you may never have heard of Subject Cinema's stuff that we do on there. So this is why we've each chosen 10 small films that you've probably never heard of that would make a great movie night surprise. Now, we're not ranking them,
Nope.
and we have previously consulted with each other, so we did not repeat titles. Mm-hmm. So we have 20 movies to recommend to you on this show. And I'll start by saying that several of mine have been major winners of our year-end awards, which are the Poppies and Rosies, including one of my best pictures, and a few other things that I just love. And the idea is to get you to see the films you've never seen. Now, there were two rules. They have to be available for rental somewhere. One of Kim's films is only available on Netflix's DVD rental queue. Everything else is streamable, and most of them are streamable on multiple sites, although there are two of them that are only on one or two sites. We'll have a clickable list up on Friday of all 20 films and where you can find them. If there's more than one location, you'll have a what to watch link. If there's only one location, you'll have a link to the movie at that site. Sound good?
Makes sense to me.
Okay. We went all over the road, and we had a real lot of fun. I had 50 films. I had to cut it down to 10 because I wanted to try and do feel-good films. What about you?
Well, I cut out a lot of films simply because I was the ending was too much of a downer. The whole film. I mean, these aren't all films that you're going to lift your spirits entirely.
No.
Some of them do have bittersweet endings.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, they're all films that will leave you with a smile on your face at the end. They're films that we've mentioned, some of them more than once.
Yes, but we deliberately tried to not do stuff that we have talked about ad nauseum. Mm-hmm. You're not going to hear me bring up Wrist Cutters, A Love Story, or Brick, or one of those that I've talked about. And Kim has refrained from again, going over Sita Sings the Blues for the 18,000th time,
Yeah.
or, so on. These are films we've mentioned and that we've loved and that we think you'll love too if you give them a chance.
That's
You
right.
want to start?
Sure. I'll start. My first film is actually the most recent film on our list. A film that
On
we
your
were
list.
on my list, I should say. A film that we were lucky enough to see earlier this year. The wonderful Sing Street. Sing Street is the story of a young man in Ireland in the early 80s and his attempts to get the girl of his dreams by having her star in the video for his band.
That he doesn't have.
He has to actually form the band to get the video to get the girl. Do you follow all that? The cast is so appealing. The songs, especially my personal favorite, Drive It Like You Stole It.
Love that song.
Is just completely awesome. The film is directed and written by John Carney, the same gentleman who gave us Once and Begin Again.
This is like the third of the trilogy of Irish music trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We were extraordinarily lucky that when we went to see it to have two of the young stars at the film. Ferdia Walsh-Pilo, who plays the main character Connor, and
also known as Cosmo.
And the other young man, Mark McKenna, who plays Eamon.
Eamon,
who is the musical
man of
genius.
1,000 instruments. Yeah.
This film is funny. It's touching. Everybody at some point has been in love with someone who seemed completely unattainable, and everybody has felt like you're stuck. This film will show you that you can get out of both of those situations, and it's just absolutely wonderful. My number 10, Sing Street.
Sing Street is a great film, and I if you haven't seen it, it's out on DVD, it's out on Netflix. Grab it, watch it, enjoy it, love it, be it. Absorb it, drive it like you stole it. My first film on my list is a film that we had a little trouble getting a hold of initially. It took me a while to track down a screener because it never did play in Boston. And I had read about it, I believe in Film Comment or Cineast or one of the other magazines, and it did show at a couple of film festivals. And I'm like, this is going to be great. So we finally did get a screener of it, and we sat there and watched it. I freaking howled throughout the entire movie. Kim is sitting there going, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh no, that's not funny, oh no, oh, ick. It's an animated film about a gentleman and his Alsatian bitch that is absolutely hysterical from beginning to end. 2010's My Dog Tulip. My Dog Tulip won my best animated film of 2010. I fell head over heels in love with this movie, and it is an animated version of J.R. Ackerley's best-selling 1956 memoir, where he talks about Queenie. They've renamed Queenie Tulip for the movie in the book. This was his real relationship for 16 years. The problem is the dog is kind of hyper, to put it bluntly. She has a bathroom issue.
To put it bluntly.
She poops and pees everywhere. And it's not pretty. And it is hysterically funny. Some of the stuff we were looking at, it was just like, oh my God, really? I was on the floor. Featuring Christopher Plummer as the voice of J.R. Ackerley, Isabella Rossellini as the voice of Ackerley's veterinarian, and Lynn Redgrave in her final performance before her passing as Ackerley's sister. The animation is wonderful, done by the husband and wife team of, let me get the names here, Paul and Sandra Fearlinger. Paul directed and did the main animation, and Sarah, is that right? Sarah, where is it here? Had it here a second ago. The wife did the Sandra, did the backgrounds and the illustrations. So it's definitely a winner, and it is there's just not, you won't be able to not smile by the time you're done with this film. It's so outlandishly goofy and funny, and the stories are all true, according to Ackerley swears they're all true.
I would offer a tiny caveat.
It's not for kids.
No.
I gotta say that up front. It's not for, like, under 12, under 14.
No.
It's a little risque.
No. There is too much talk about dog sex.
Yeah.
There's
a whole section on dog sex, yeah.
Yeah.
And what were you going to say?
Brings a whole new meaning to doggy style. But, damn, I didn't cause a nose cola moment. Shoot. I
don't have cola. I have Mountain Dew.
Fine.
Diet Dew.
I would just like to say, while this is a great film and funny, and for the most part, and also, I couldn't tell if you were laughing more at the film or at me, but
a little of both, actually, but mostly the film.
I never realized I could be so cringy about stuff like that because I watch nature programs.
It's a scatological profile of a German Shepherd, and
but
it's kind of crazy.
There is a part that is dark.
Yeah.
There is a part that is towards the end of the movie. It is extremely dark. Once you realize what's being talked about, you're going to have a moment of, what the F did he just say?
Yeah, I know.
And just warning people up front. Mm-hmm. But that's a terrific choice.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 9 is the first documentary on my list. Won't be the last, warning you.
Yeah, we both got several docs.
Mm-hmm. My film number 9 is Wordplay, which is a documentary about something that a lot of people do every day. Some people do it better than others. Some people do it more than once a day. Some people do it in pen. Some people do it in pencil. You know, it depends on your personal preference. And I'm talking about crossword puzzles. Crossword puzzles can be relaxing for some people, and they can be absolute torture for other people. This film is about not only the people who make crossword puzzles, like the crossword puzzle editor for the New York Times, Will Shortz. The film also talks to people who love crossword puzzles. People like Jon Stewart, Ken Burns, Bob Dole, former President Bill Clinton.
Who does the New York Times crosswords in pen.
In pen. Can we talk? The indie darlings, the Indigo Girls, all kinds of people from all walks of life talking about how much they love working on crossword puzzles. And the film also goes into crossword puzzle tournaments where people have to solve a certain number of crossword puzzles in a certain amount of time, which watching this happening, I'm going, I would go absolutely blind or insane. I'm not sure which one would be first because I am not this smart or this fast. I have these people are like athletes. I mean, they are athletes. They're mental athletes.
Yes.
It's amazing what they can do. And this film is definitely, it shows off the quirkier side of crossword puzzles, which most people just think of something that's, it's one and done kind of a thing. But for these people, it's a way of life, and it's something they love, and it's awesome. So my number 9, Wordplay.
That's a great choice. My next film, I'm not numbering mine because there's just too many of them. I got 10. My second film tonight is yesterday, today, tomorrow. My second film is...
Stop that.
is a great film that we both kind of found by accident because it just happened to beat 2 other films for an Academy Award. In 2009, the big expected winner for the best foreign language film were a pair of films. One from, I can't remember where they were from. One of them was called The Class. Mm-hmm. The other one, an animated film called Waltz with Bashir. They were the 2 front runners. And when this film was announced as the winner on Oscar night, we're like, what the hell is Departures? Departures turned out to be a delightful comedy drama that I loved so much. It was the first foreign language film to ever win my Best Picture Poppy. It won my Best Picture of 2009. Departures follows a young man who was a cellist by trade. He is in an orchestra that is dissolved because of low attendance and low money. So he takes his new bride and moves back from the city, from Tokyo, back to the small village where he grew up. When he gets there, he has to find work, so he applies at what he think is a travel agency. He's like, help wanted on departures. He gets there, and to his shock, is asked to follow the gentleman there on a case that has just come in. It's not departures, it's the departed. Mm-hmm. There was a typo in the ad. It's basically preparing the dead for burial. And of course, everybody's kind of freaked out about that. So, burial's probably wrong because they don't do...
No, it actually might be... I think this is something actually rather new in Japan. Japan, for many years, has dealt with death by having bodies cremated. The idea of bodies being laid out for people to have a wake, I think that's pretty new.
Well, it says ritual mortician, a traditional Japanese ritual mortician.
Oh, I don't... Okay. All right,
so
I'm not sure. But it's not considered a job that would be considered respectful in Japan.
This movie came from left field. Kim and I were both bawling at the end of this film. It's beautiful and happy and uplifting. Starring Masahiro Motoki, Ryoko Hisuri, and Tsutomu Yamazaki, and with an incredible music score by the unbelievably talented Joe Hisaishi. I'll tell you now, when you see this film, you're going to fall in love with the score, and it's only available on on CD from Japan. It's never been released in America. I know. I paid $45 for it. It's awesome, and I listen to it all the time. My second film, my wonderful gem, it's subtitled, so if you're a subtitle phobic, you won't like it, or find a dubbed version, because the movie in itself is wonderful. 2009's Departures.
Okay.
Dear.
All right. My next film is...
You better be looking up stuff for this show.
I am. My next film is another documentary. Number 8 on my list is We Are Wizards. We Are Wizards...
We are?
Well, we are.
We are. Are we? We are. We are wizards.
You know what happens to people that practice magic in New England? It's a bad thing. I'm not falling for that trick again. We were lucky enough to see this film with some friends. It was at a film festival in 2008, and it
was our first time ever at the IFFB. Mm-hmm, so that was cool.
And We Are Wizards documents a phenomenon that up until that point, I will be honest and admit I had never heard of. The musical genre known as wizard rock. Now, for those of you who are going, what? Wizard rock is a genre of music based around the characters and the universe of J.K. Rowling's smash series, Harry Potter. There are people out there who have taken on personas from the Harry Potter universe or characters like the Harry Potter universe. They've written songs, usually with their own original music, about the universe of or what they call the Potterverse. And We Are Wizards is a film that looks at these people, their fans, and also their detractors. They actually do speak to a woman who is very much anti-Harry Potter. She's one of these people that believe that Harry Potter books are a gateway drug to the occult. Bull crap. You know, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. The bands that we meet in this film include Harry and the Potters, Draco and the Malfoys, the Whomping Willow, which is actually one person. This film celebrates the amazingness that is the Harry Potter universe and the even more amazingness of the Harry Potter fans. If you've never seen We Are Wizards, check it out. It is a lot of fun.
It is. It's a great deal of fun. And yeah, Wizard Rock is now in the mainstream thanks to Harry and the Potters, who became a huge phenomenon over the years. And, of course, Joe DeGeorge is now working with Hank Green on his new band. Yeah. So it's like very cool. My next film is a wonderful documentary that if you like food and you like beef in particular, you're going to love this documentary. It ended up on my Baker's Dozen last year, and it didn't get seen enough, and even Kim was drooling when we were watching this film.
Yeah.
The film is Steak Revolution. The R in Revolution is in parentheses because it's also supposed to be Steak Evolution. What this does is it goes through and shows you the different ways, different areas of the world grow cattle for steak, what kind of steak they make, and how they prepare it. And oh my God, we were sitting there drooling through this whole show.
Yeah.
And she's not a steak eater.
I'm
because
not.
She loves hamburger, but steak, it's a texture thing with her, and she doesn't like it. I can devour steak at any time. This movie is so good, and I mean, it had great reviews when it came out. And they went to some of the top steakhouses in the country. They went to some of the top farms. They looked at Black Angus, Wagyu, Kobe, a number of different types of beef and where they're grown and why they are. You might think it sounds kind of boring, but it's not. If you're a steak lover and or even just a steak liker, I guarantee you are going to enjoy this film.
And if you are a vegetarian, you are going to relapse.
You're going. Maybe this is what they should have shown Ree when she first married Marlboro Man. Pioneer Woman reference. The movie is brilliant, and the food. Oh, to watch them.
Don't watch this on an empty stomach.
No, don't watch this on an empty stomach. Don't watch it hungry, and.
Please don't watch it.
Have some steaks in the house.
And please, for the
we
love...
didn't. So you're gonna want steak
for
when
the
this
love
movie
of all
is over.
For the love of all that's good and decent, don't watch this stoned.
Oh no, that's not a good idea either. It is a great little film from Alive Mind Cinema, and I think everybody should see it. If you like meat, you'll love it. Steak Revolution from 2015.
Yep. Number 7 on my list is one of the first films that we saw when we started venturing out beyond the mainstream movies. We were both pretty much mainstream movie
You
folks.
were more indie than I was.
I was a little more indie, but this was one of the first films along this particular genre that we saw. And we both found out we kind of liked. It's a film from 2007 called Quiet City. Quiet City
is the film that's only available currently through DVD on Netflix. It's not available streaming anywhere. Just so you know.
Directed by Aaron Katz, Quiet City falls into a type of film that's called mumblecore. It's a much looser structure.
Although Aaron hates that word, but it is a mumblecore film, yeah.
Yeah. It's a much looser structure when it comes to script. It's a lot more improvised kind of thing. And it has a much more real feeling to it. The story behind Quiet City is thus. A young woman from Atlanta comes to Brooklyn to meet up with a friend of hers, but her friend does not show up at the train station. Said young woman, whose name is Jamie, meets a young man named Charlie and winds up hanging out with him for 24 hours. Now, usually when someone hangs out with a total stranger in New York, this is an episode of Law & Order Special Victims Unit. But
you've watched too much CSI and Special Victims Unit.
I know. This film is charming, it's funny, it's sweet. There are just moments of real tenderness between Erin Fisher and Chris Lankenau, the leads. And it's just adorable. I mean, I realize it's an odd way to put a film that doesn't include, fluffy bunnies or stuff like that, but it's an adorable film. I mean, without being precious, if that makes any sense.
For a mumblecore film, it is beautifully shot. There's a beautiful score, which is downloadable, I think, still. I don't know if I got it. I don't know if anybody else can still get it or not. And Chris and Aaron are really... Chris has only done a couple other films. Aaron's only done a couple other films, and they've also worked behind the scenes on stuff. The chemistry is magic.
It is.
And it's what
really
it makes it really worth watching.
So my number 7, Quiet City.
Definitely try to find it. It's great. I wanted to do one adrenaline pumping movie.
Okay.
With a good, it has an exciting story and something that would really get your testosterone going if you're guys, or get your girls going to want to cuddle their guys because they're worried about what's going on. a real feel-good action film. So, of course, I went to the disaster genre because that's what I'm best at. And this is the film that was raved about when it became Norway's first ever disaster film, and it was their official entry to last year's Academy Awards. It came out in the States earlier this year. It's the newest film on my list, and it is currently available on Netflix for free, on streaming, and it's great. It's called The Wave. Bolgen is the original Swedish title, and it follows a geologist who is leaving his job in Geiranger for a new a job in Stavanger, moving with his family. Geiranger is on a fjord which is threatened by a giant rock about, that if it ever falls into the fjord, it's gonna cause this enormous inside tsunami and wipe out everything on the fjord.
Guess what happens?
There was a previous incident of it happening in the 1920s for real. The effects are marvelous. The story's marvelous. The stars of the film are the star of the film is Christopher Jonner. He plays Christian, and it is really. I made a special trip out to the Kendall by myself to see it, and it is fantastic. Although it does have a few kind of draggy moments, and it does have a couple of moments of what the hell. It is all resolved, and it makes it really cool at the end, and it's really, Sweden was really proud, or Norway was really proud of this film, because nobody in this country, which has this rich, beautiful film industry, making all kinds of crazy stuff, from comedy to drama to excitement to action shoot-em-ups, they'd never done a disaster film before, and this proves they can stand next to the San Andreases of the world. My next film, check it out on Netflix. It's called The Wave from 2016.
Okay. Number 6 for me is a beautiful, beautiful film that we've mentioned on here before. I don't know how...
On Front Row 5 and 10?
No, on
Subject Cinema.
We've
Cinema. Talked about all these on
yes,
Subject
we've
Cinema.
talked about this on Subject Cinema before. How this film did not get more attention in this country, I have no idea, because it deserved it so very badly. My number 6 is a film from Japan called I Wish. Beautiful story.
Korida, director.
Yeah,
He's become a major star since this film.
Directed and written by Hirokazu Korida. I Wish tells the story of a group of young kids who all have one thing in common. They all have a wish. Each kid's wish is something different. The lead, a young man named Koichi, has been separated from his brother because his parents are getting a divorce. He hears a rumor that there are going to be 2 bullet trains that are going to be passing each other at the same time. And there's a rumor going around that when this happens, if someone makes a wish, a miracle will happen and their wish will come true.
It's inaugural bullet trains, isn't it? The first running of that particular train.
Of those trains, yeah. And so Koichi and some of his friends get together to go see this phenomenon, to make their wishes, to have their miracles come true. I cannot express how beautiful this film is. It's so sweet without being cloying. It's tender without being schmaltzy.
It made both of our Baker's Dozens that year. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The cast, which is all, for the most part, younger kids, because they're the focus of the film. They're all amazing young actors without being precociously cute.
I think most of them were making their acting debuts in this film, too, if I remember right.
I think you are right. It's just a film that will touch your heart, and it will make you feel good. It's just one of those films that it's like a big warm hug. My number 6, I Wish.
That's a great way to describe it. It is. It's like getting this great big hug from Corey Ida, who has become a major star as a director since this was made. This one really put him on the map, and he's moved up since then. His films are brilliant, and this little character study is just charming and funny and sweet and beautiful. That is a great choice.
Thank you.
This one is a very, very great film that we enjoyed the hell out of. And unfortunately, this is another one I found out only because I read about it in Film Comment a couple of months before it came out. And I'm like, we have got to see this. It sounds fascinating. I fell head over heels in love with this film. And it's the oddest thing because it's not really a narrative film, but it's not really a documentary either. It's one long series of music videos of the people, the sounds, the looks, and the feel of Naples, Italy. It's called Passione, hosted and written by and produced and directed by the wonderful John Turturro, and featuring his buddy and partner in crime in some of these videos, the always brilliant Max Casella, and a number of real Italian musical acts being shot as they perform their hits or whatever. This film is a travelogue of one city and its music and the people and I got to be honest, I had no desire whatsoever to ever visit Naples because it's too damn close to Vesuvius. I go to Naples, boom, Vesuvius happens, it's Pompeii all over again. I have wanted to go to Naples ever since I saw this film. It's like, oh my God, this is awesome. The music is all different types, from traditional Italian to rock Italian to folk Italian. There's some terrific performances all the way through it, and I think it's over 20 songs that get pulled up through either part or all the way through, and a great, brilliant narrative as Turturro takes us through the various divisions and sections of Naples and their different neighborhoods and the different kind of music that they listen to and how people just sing on the street. Mm-hmm. This is what this city is like. For me, it was a treat because Max Casella has been staying mostly on the stage of late, but he's a terrific actor. I have loved him since he was in Doogie Howser MD years ago, and I think he's brilliant in everything. And here, he blew me away. It was really a lot of fun. This movie is if you like music, you are going to fall head over heels in love with this movie. If you like Italian stuff, you're going to fall head over heels in love with this movie. If you want to experience something new and want to broaden your horizons, this film is definitely the one to do it. It's called Passione. It's Passione, and it's just beautiful, from 2010. Thank you, John Turturro, for this wonderful love letter to Naples.
Okay.
Your turn.
Okay. Well, my next film is another documentary, and it's kind of along the same lines of TC's earlier Steak Revolution.
Oh, I have a food one upcoming too.
In the fact that you had him who loves steak.
Oh, yeah.
Watching this movie, he was like reaching carnivore nirvana with this movie, and I was actually going, that looks really good too. This film was that way for me. And it turned out it was that way for him as well.
Even though I don't like sushi.
No. My number 5 is Eero Dreams of Sushi.
Another film that made both of our top 10 lists that year.
Yep. A profile of sushi master Jiro Ono. This film looks at his restaurant, his life, his obsession, and his calling, his reason for being on planet Earth,
Absolutely.
I suppose. I mean, if you take the standpoint that a lot of people take, which I happen to agree with, that most people are put on this planet for a purpose. I like to think most people are put here to ease the suffering of other people, or to make people happy would be another way to put that. Whether you make people happy by being a good friend or a good parent or
a mob boss.
Or,
Sorry, it had to be said. Gotta give credit to both sides.
Or whatever. Hero makes people happy by making the most amazing, unbelievable, delicious looking, oh my God, put that in my mouth right now, sushi. Now, I realize some people just turned up their nose and went, ew, she likes that stuff.
Trust me. If you're a non-sushi person, you will come out wanting this sushi.
Oh, my God.
I hate sushi, and I was drooling.
To put this in perspective about the restaurant that Eero runs, when you think of a sushi restaurant, I know you probably think of like a large place, lots of plates and all that kind of stuff. That is not the case here. His restaurant is located in an underground station, a subway station in Tokyo. The restaurant seats 9 people. 9. The number between 8 and 10.
Thank you.
Well, just to make sure nobody thinks I said anything else. People have to make reservations a month in advance. It costs about half a week's salary to eat in this place. And people will tell you, you should go to Japan just to eat here.
Yeah.
If that gives you any idea of how good this food is, or even if it doesn't give you any idea, I don't know what to say about you. You're lost. This film looks at. I mean, there's a job, and then there's this. I mean, this is a calling, and his sons have followed him into this business because they probably had no choice, and it was probably the only way they got to see their father, who works insane hours. Yeah. Eero Dreams of Sushi is gorgeously filmed. It's just
the close-ups of the individual pieces of sushi on a big screen are mind-blowing.
This is food.
It's true art.
This is food porn.
Yeah, it's art.
This is the best examples of food porn I have ever seen. My number 5, Eero Dreams of Sushi.
For the record, Eero, J-I-R-O.
Yes.
So you know how to spell it. It's
brings this film brings a whole new meaning to the phrase nom nom.
Speaking of this, you're absolutely right about that. I am not a huge sushi fan.
No.
But that film made me want sushi.
Yeah, we're both sitting there watching this movie, and I'm just awash in drool. I was just like, I need sushi now or I'm going to faint. I was like, I absolutely have to have sushi now.
My next film is similar to yours in the fact that they both come from Asian food cultures. This, I'll be honest with you, since this movie appeared on Netflix earlier this year, I've watched it 4 times. I love this film. It's funny.
I'm not the slightest bit surprised.
No, I know. I've seen Eero Dreams of Sushi several times too on Netflix. This one, it's funny and it's informative, and it's Ian Chaney. Ian Chaney has become one of our favorite documentary directors over the past several years. He has done. He's from Massachusetts. He's done some brilliant films. His first film, The Greening of Southie, I saw. We've seen all the rest of them together. And this one, which we saw for the first time in January of 2000, in February, March of 2000, no, get it right yet, May 2014 at the Independent Film Festival of Boston, it became a favorite instantly. It's a look at a classic Chinese food dish from an American perspective, and at the same time, looking at the history of the Chinese people in America. The film is called The Search for General Tso, and it goes in search of where General Tso's chicken comes from. Because it ain't China. Is it?
No.
He went to China.
Although General Tso
knew
was
they knew who General Tso was. He's a real general, but they had no idea what the dish was. This film looks at the development of Chinese food in America and how it spread across the country. How even in small towns in the Midwest who would not accept Chinese immigrants, if they were running a Chinese restaurant, everybody was there. There's an interview with a brilliant gentleman who has collected Chinese restaurant menus for years, from the fancy ones to like takeout menus. There's an interview with the wonderful Cecilia Chang, who ran the Mandarin, one of the best-known Chinese restaurants everywhere in America. Her son is P.F. Chang of P.F. Chang's Chinese food. And so many other quirky people and owners and enjoyable shots. I was surprised that the Kowloon did not get featured.
No, I know.
Which is a legend up here. But we did get someplace called Genghis Cohen. You've got to see it to believe it, and it's one of Ian Chaney's best. From 2015, The Search for General Show. You'll never look at Chinese food the same way again, and you'll want to have a whole passel of it afterward.
Yeah, that's true. You definitely will. Make sure that you're somewhere where you can get to a good Chinese restaurant when you're done with it.
Yep.
Next on my list is a film that we saw at one of the first film festivals we ever went to. Unfortunately, it's a festival that no longer exists.
That was the first festival we went to, and it does exist under a new name. It's now the Mass Indie Film Festival.
Oh. Originally, it was called the New England Film and Video Festival. And the film itself, my number 4, is a beautiful gem of a movie. It's called Once Upon a Film. Once Upon a Film is the story of two people who wind up meeting up, a screenwriter and a critic, and they meet at the movies, and they wind up bonding over all things the film Harold and Maude, which, if you've never seen it, is an awesome film that we've also talked about. Stella and Derek wind up falling in love, and unfortunately, it's not as easy as just falling in love and having everything be perfect, because there is baggage. Everybody has baggage, and the film goes through their relationship and how it actually becomes a relationship and how they keep it as a relationship. This film is quirky, and it's quirky without being like, what the hell did I just watch? Kind of quirky. This film is charming. The cast is very appealing. It's a love story for people who think they've seen every love story ever. Directed by a really sweet, fantastic lady named Decker, and just full of performances that will stick with you because they're that damn good. My number 4, Once Upon a Film.
Once Upon a Film is a great film. The version that's available now is a little different because it's a more recent final cut that Decker put up when it was released. We saw the festival version, but they're both terrific. Mm-hmm. My next film is a little bizarre for me, and I freely admit it. I watched it because I wanted to see it before we did the Poppies and Rosies that year, and I was like, okay, I've been hearing about this. Make me a fan. Well, it did, and it really frightens me that it did. Because I was watching this, and I sat there, and you watched it with me a couple weeks ago when it was on...
and I got sucked into
Fuse, I think it was, or one of the music channels. No, Access. It was on Access.
I got sucked right in.
I've always liked dance music, but I was never into the dance music known as EDM or electronic dance music until I started hearing some of Avicii's work, like Wake Me Up and stuff on the radio, and then I started to like it. That's why I started to look at this film, and I realized that I wanted to take a look and see what made this so special. And I spent half the movie in tears, which is really bizarre because it's not a sad movie. It's not a happy movie. It's a feel-good movie. And if you like good music, I invite you to the Electric Daisy Carnival 2013 and the filmmakers who made Under the Electric Sky. This made my my Baker's Dozen of the year in 2014. I fell in love with this film from the second I watched it. It follows several groups of people. There's a young couple who live halfway around the world apart, who come together once a year for EDC because they have to do their other parts. There's a husband, well, no, they're not married. A couple with a couple of children who met at EDC and are getting married at this year's. There's a group of, what do they call that? Androgynous friends who all want to get married as a group, which is just weird. And there's a group.
Well, I think polyamorous.
Polyamorous. I couldn't think of the right word. And there's a group of guys from New Bedford, Massachusetts, calling themselves the Wolf Pack, who have gone to pay tribute to a friend they've lost to a drug overdose in the previous year, and a few other stories along the way too. Plus, it has incredible music from Avicii, Steve Aoki, and about 24 major DJs and remixers, and it It blew my mind. I was sitting there, and I saw it on a screener, so I didn't see it on the big screen. And I'm sitting there, and I don't know what it was. It was just this overwhelming rush of, hey, this is awesome. To the point where I've been trying to talk him into going to EDC for a while now.
Happening. So
but we don't want to be the oldest people at the festival.
We don't want to be at the festival.
And it's also usually 100+ degrees.
Yeah. We don't want to be at the festival and have people go, ew, who brought their mom and dad?
It's like,
it's
like I want to experience it once in my life now that I have experienced it on video. It's a really incredible look. If you like dance music, it's going to be an acquired taste, I'll admit that. But I think if you like dance music or you like disco or you like something fun in music, you might just get sucked in. Kim did, and she doesn't even like those kind of things that much. From 2014, Under the Electric Sky.
Okay. Number 3 on my list is a film that... when I say the thing I'm about to say, some people might be like, really? But I do feel this way. I feel like everyone should see this film. Not just because it is a really well-acted, great story, but simply because, good grief, we need the tolerance that this film talks about. Now, more than ever do we need it. My number 3 is a film called Boy Meets Girl.
Oh, I loved this film. This did not get enough people to see it.
Holy crap, why was this movie so small?
It deserved to be a major studio film and an Oscar contender, and it absolutely just got completely shafted.
It really did. Directed and written by Eric Schaefer. Boy Meets Girl is the story of Ricky, who is a young transgender woman who wants to leave the small town that she's in because she has bigger dreams. But I think one of the things that's keeping her here is the fact that she is in love with her best friend, who is a guy played by Michael Welsh, her best friend Robbie. Also into her life comes a young woman who's about to be married, and things get a little bit crazy over there.
I think it's the other way around. I think Robbie's more in love with Ricky rather than the Ricky in love with him at first.
I think they're in love with each other, but nobody knows nobody knows how to say anything without without upsetting the apple cart of the fact that they've been friends since they were kids.
Yes, they have.
I think they both feel.
And the fact that he has stood with her during the transition has been really something.
Yeah, I think the fact that they are such good friends. I think that has more to do with it than the gender issue, the transgender issue.
I do too.
It's just the fact that they were friends, and now they realize they both have these romantic feelings, and they're like they don't want to wreck up their friendship.
Yeah.
The cast includes an amazingly gorgeous young woman named Michelle Hendley. Michelle is not a major household name right now, and it's going to
change.
That is a sin.
She will be.
That is a sin that she is not yet, because she is beautiful, she is talented, she is funny, she is charming, and she's a genuinely nice person. We had
the pleasure of meeting Michelle and co-star Alexandria Tertian at the screening we went to. Michael Welsh was unable to make it, but
which is a shame.
It was fantastic.
This is a film that now, when you have so many people, there's so much intolerance in this country, and so many people who are transgender, have to deal with so much on top of what's going on in their own heads.
Hello, North Carolina.
Yeah, we're looking at you, North Carolina. They have to deal with what they're dealing with, physically, emotionally, and stuff like that, which they're far braver than me. Mm-hmm. And then they have to deal with the outside world and all their bullcrap. When you look at a tender film like this, this film will, my mind didn't have to be changed, because I don't care that stuff about people at all. That, you are who you are and you love who you love, and that's it. Mm-hmm. But if this film had a larger release and it made some people not be so narrow-minded, I would think that would be a good thing. And I think if you show this film to a group of your friends and it makes somebody think, wow, I should really change the way I'm thinking, then I think that would be a great thing. And it's also just the fact that it's an awesome movie.
It is.
My number 3, Boy Meets Girl.
One of Michael Welsh's best ever performances. He's been on. He was our number 1 rising star in 2007.
I think so. Yeah.
And always fantastic. My next film is a little tiny comedy drama that was based on a big hit at the festivals from a couple of years earlier that came from Iceland. And I will admit this is going to be an acquired taste for some people. Kim is not a particular fan of this film, and I thought it was a riot, and mainly because I really like the 2 co-stars in it, and it was fun to see such a small little film get such a great reaction from the audience at IFFB. It ended up on my best my Baker's Dozen in 2013. And it consists of 2 guys out in the wilderness doing road painting in the middle of a hot summer in Texas after a fire.
Yeah.
The movie is called Prince Avalanche. It stars Paul Rudd and Emile Hirsch in 2 of the best performances of their careers. Paul is this super uptight guy. He's Mr. By the Book, always follow rules, always have a schedule, who is engaged to the sister of the Emile Hirsch character, Mr. Laid Back, kind of thick, not really knowing what is going on in his life. He lives to drink, get high, and get screwed, and get laid, and that's all. The discussions they have, the things that go on in this film are poignant, ridiculous, sublime, and hysterically funny at times. And there's 2 other characters that pop up, and they're out of nowhere. They only have a cameo on each one of them. One of them is simply a truck driver, played by Lance Legault in one of his final roles, and a lady named Joyce Payne, who just plays a character called Lady. They discovered her. David Gordon Green, the director-writer of this film, discovered her. She was a resident who lost her home in this fire, and they asked her to be a part of the film. That's something. These are the only 4 people in this film. It is a tour de force for Paul Rudd and Emile Hirsch. 2 of the best performances. One of their best. How do you say that? 2 people each giving one of the best performances of their lives.
Yeah.
And their chemistry is nonstop. Now, I'm the first person to admit there's going to be things in this movie that might offend some more sensitive viewers. It is rated R, but it is also really funny, and it's set in 1988, and David Wingo did the score. David Wingo I have been a huge fan of since his Mud score a few years ago, and also Explosions in the Sky, the band that did this with him. It's worth it, and they shot it in just 14 days with just 65 pages of scripts, which is about a third shorter script than most places use. A lot of it was improv. I've understood that the Icelandic film it's based on, either way, is also a riot of the same nature. From 2013, Prince Avalanche.
Okay. Number 2 on my list is a film that I have talked about over and over again on Subject Cinema. It won my Rosie one year for Best Picture because I think it was a great film. It was an early film for some people that are getting a lot of attention right now. From 2009, City Island. City Island is the story of the Rizzo.
You did it again. It's 2010. 2009 was its film festival debut.
I'm sorry.
We always have that happen.
I know. City Island is the story of the Rizzo family who live in City Island, New York. The family is your typical family, husband, wife, or your atypical family, I suppose. The whole husband, wife, 2 kids, and that whole thing. But everyone in the house is keeping secrets and lying to each other. And into this perfect family, they think everything's fine. Into this family comes another person. The other person is a young man who's recently been released from prison. And
county jail.
From jail.
Yeah.
And he is under the supervision of the father of the family, because he is a police officer. What the other people in the family don't realize is that this young man is the father's illegitimate son from a relationship he had with an older woman when he was in his teens. He got her pregnant, and the woman raised the son on her own. Then she wound up dying while the son was in jail, I believe. And now this young man has come into this family's life, and there's all these other secrets going on with the daughter, with the other son, with both parents, and everything gets thrown into a blender and hits puree, and everything hits the fan. The cast includes Andy Garcia, Juliana Margulies, Stephen Strait, Emily Mortimer, and I think this was the first place I saw Ezra Miller.
This was our first exposure to the delight that is Ezra Miller.
Yeah. Everybody did a fantastic job in this film, but I really want to point out Ezra's performance, because a lot of his work lately has been very serious. I mean, you look at a film like We Need to Talk About Kevin, which is beyond,
or Stanford Prison Experiment, or any number of things he's done.
A film like Kevin, which is so dark, and
of course he's probably best known for Perks of Being a Wallflower, where he got a couple of major
City Island basically is the story. Like I said, it's a story of a family, and it's a story about lies, and the fact that lies and secrets will always come back and bite you on the ass.
And it is also a hysterically funny film.
It definitely is. My number 2, City Island.
City Island was one of those kind of films we just happened to catch the trailer of on Comcast On Demand. When it came to Kendall Square, we went and saw it. We made a special trip in to see it, and then the next week it shows up over here in Revere. We were so pissed. It's like, oh man, we got to go see it again.
Yeah.
My next film, my second to last film, is another one of those little gems that I don't expect. And again, we found it through the trailer. The trailer, we were like, what in the world is this? And we turned the trailer on, and we're like, oh my God, this looks hysterical. We're going to have to go see it when it comes out. And when it came out, opening night, it was only in Boston for a week, we were there. Mm-hmm. Because we both, for some reason, could not get over the idea of going to see a French comedy about a speed typing contest.
You heard him right.
From 2013 in the States and late 2012 in France, Populaire focuses on the story of Rose Famphile, played by Deborah Francois, who is trained by her boss, Louis Eckard, played by Romain Doris, one of the top stars in France right now, to become the fastest typist in the world by winning the 1959 International Speed Typing Contest.
Now, for those of you who are under the age of 25, what we're talking about is back in the day, they used to have these things called manual typewriters. Now, if you take a piece of paper
and... your sarcasm is already far enough. It's actually,
they don't know. I'm telling you, they don't.
It's a romantic comedy, and it is freaking hilarious from beginning to end. It's never been released on DVD in America, but it is a staple on Netflix. So if you've never seen it, you can watch it. And I don't think we got through maybe 5 minutes of this film without completely losing it. It's that funny. And watching Kim, because he, Mr. Eckhart's, nickname for his new secretary who can't type is Pumpkin. Pumpkin this and pumpkin that. And Kim's like, oh, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, honey, 1959, different time, different country. You gotta take things into effect.
Yeah. For all of you liberated ladies out there, you do have to kind of sit here and go, this was a different time and men were a lot stupider back then. And it's just...
I adore this film. And it's weird because it's a chick flick. Romantic comedy.
It is. It really is.
It's really freaking hilarious. Romain Duras has become a major star in France over the years. He co-starred in one of Michel Gondry's latest called Mood Indigo, which got horrible reviews. Continues to do other things, including English language stuff. Deborah is brilliant, and this also the thing that attracted us was one of the co-stars, is Berenice Bejo from The Artist, and it's really, really a charming little film.
It is.
You won't be able to forget, from 2013, Populaire.
Okay. The last film on my list it's a really special film. This would be one if you were going to ask me, like, well, out of all the films on your list, which one would you consider, like, on the bittersweet side? And this one, it would have to be this one. It is a beautiful story, though.
It is, yeah.
My number one film is another film that won my Rosie that year. Mm-hmm. The Music Never Stopped.
She completely floored me when she gave her Rosie for Best Picture. It's a great film, though. Don't get me wrong.
The Music Never Stopped is the story of... Well, it's the story of a lot of things. It's the story of family. It's a story of redemption. It's a story of loss. It's a story of love. And at the heart of it, it is a story of music. And there's a line from ironically enough, there's a line from a film that I've never seen that I quote an awful lot, because it's true. There's a line from Empire Records that...
You have too seen Empire Records.
I haven't seen the whole thing.
Yes, you have.
I kind of drifted in and out. And it's basically, the line, I'm paraphrasing, is music is the glue of the universe.
Music is the glue of the world, Mark. It holds it all together. Without it, life would be meaningless.
Yes,
Spoken by Eddie.
Yes, that.
I am an obvious Empire Records fanatic. Go ahead.
This film is about a family that the father and son have the usual father-son conflicts. The generations don't understand each other and can't get along, and they wind up fighting and all of that kind of stuff. To the point where the son leaves home. And one of the big arguing points between the father and son was music. The problem is that after the son Gabriel leaves home, he completely drifts off falls off the face of the earth for a little while, and his parents are frantic and don't know what's happened to him. When they find him, Gabriel is homeless and is very ill. He has a brain tumor, and it has prevented him from forming new memories. One of the things that his father, Henry, uses to reach out to him to try and bring his son back is the music that his son used to love. And by listening to this music, Harry winds up falling in love with the music too. And father and son discover something that brings them closer together and brings them it brings them back. It is so beautiful and so moving. And the performances in this film, specifically J.K. Simmons as Henry the father and Lou Taylor Pucci as Gabriel the son, there aren't words. I mean, there are not words. I mean, what this family goes through is something that you can't even imagine how people would pick up from this. But the fact that they were able to find something that would make their relationship even stronger, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the only word I can use, is beautiful. Mm-hmm. So if you've never seen The Music Never Stopped, please see this movie. Be
forewarned, it has a very melancholy ending, although it is a happy ending of sorts. It's still very melancholy.
See this movie and then go call your dad.
Yeah. If you can.
If you can.
For those of us who bothered to have dads that we would bother to call. Anyway, my last film, much an upper from that. Not that it's not a great film, because it is, but this one is just a lot of fun, and I would recommend this one especially for families, for parents who are old enough to remember this, and kids who have no idea what they're talking about.
Okay.
It is a celebration of something so uniquely American that it became a part of the culture for about 50 years before it started fading away. And now it's actually coming back up slowly but surely. And we were very happy to entertain the director of this film on our show for an interview a few years ago. And I enjoyed talking to her about it. And I cannot wait to see the new film she has coming out about movie palaces. But this one is absolutely terrific. It's called Going Attractions, the definitive story of the American drive-in movie by Deborah Wright. I do that every time. April Wright. I'm sorry, April. And it tells the story of the drive-in movie, and how drive-ins came to be, and all the different types of drive-ins there have been. And some of them have been, I mean, you were freaked out by some of the different types where you had, each car had its own spot with its own screen, and it was projected through a mirror system on this one. And then it had another one where it was in the center of a motel where you could watch the movie from your room. It was... And then, of course, there's all the basics like the twins and stuff over the years. For kids who don't know, have never been to a drive-in, and they include Kim. She went once, but she was so young she doesn't remember it.
I went to one drive-in my entire life, and I was under 4.
I grew up going to drive-ins. My mom preferred the drive-in with me because I was a kid. And my stepfather at the time was a huge fan of the B movies that they played, like the biker movies and the monster movies and the science fiction crap like the Green Slime. And I also got to go see Disney films at the drive-in, like Swiss Family Robinson. And so I don't remember which theater it was, but it was in Spokane, Washington, or a suburb, and it was... I want to say it was the Dishman drive-in, but I don't think that's right. I don't know. I'm so... It's 50 years ago now. I love this DVD, and I love this movie. There's some great, terrific extras on the DVD if you take the time to buy it. There's all kinds of extra stuff. And Deborah is working. I did it again. April is working. I cannot understand, April, why I cannot get your name right.
Well, you did that time. So.
I know. She is working on a new movie about movie palaces, which I cannot wait to see because I love this first one. If you like movies and you remember the drive-in, if you're a Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan who remembers these horrible movies when they played in the drive-in, or just bad fare of our drive-in dungeon feature, when we run up stuff like Beach Girls and the Monster, you'll want to see this movie because it's truly a lot of fun and it's great history and it puts a smile on your face. And a lot of drive-ins out there need your help to stay alive. Check Kickstarter regularly, check Indiegogo regularly, and listen to Subject Cinema. We just brought 2 to your attention on Save Our Screens 2 weeks ago. Going Attractions, the definitive story of the American drive-in. My final film for this show.
So here's my list from 10 to 1 of smaller films that you should definitely check out. Number 10, Sing Street. Number 9, Wordplay. Number 8, We Are Wizards. Number 7, Quiet City. Number 6, I Wish. Number 5, Hero Dreams of Sushi. Number 4, Once Upon a Film. Number 3, Boy Meets Girl. Number 2, City Island. And number 1, The Music Never Stopped.
And I didn't rank mine from 10 to 1, but I just
ranked them because it was easier for me to...
Yeah, and I gave them the list here, but the 10 that I'm recommending that you take a look at for a great movie night surprise are My Dog Tulip, Departures, Steak Revolution, The Wave, Passione, The Search for General Show, Under the Electric Sky, Prince Avalanche, Populaire, and Going Attractions, the definitive history of the American drive-in. I think these are 20 great films you will enjoy.
Okay.
We talked about these together and I came up with my 10, and then I helped her get stuff that we had to miss several because they weren't available.
Yeah.
Cherry wasn't available, and Cherry's a great film. And a few other things we looked at. There's so much, and we'll do this again probably at some point with 20 more films
I
that
would
you
say
need to
so,
see.
yeah.
Alrighty, so it's your turn to choose.
Okay. My next list for us is going to be a little different. You can choose from movies or TV for my list. of the top 10 detectives.
Okay.
Pro or amateur.
Okay.
So it's all those people that solve crimes, whether they're doing it because they're paid to or
That's
because...
going to be hard because there's a lot of good ones out there. I'm going to really have to think about
whether,
that.
Whether they do it because they're paid to or they just show up and people start dying. So they can be from the movies or television.
Yes, I know. I would hate to live in Cabot Cove, Maine. It's like just like the...
it's not a question of living in Cabot Cove. It's just a question of being around Jessica Fletcher. A woman's got the Grim Reaper on speed dial.
She's a serial killer.
Stop that!
There is a new
I know.
That's going to be fun. I think we'll enjoy that.
Okay.
Don't forget to check out Subject Cinema if you haven't already. It's available every Sunday evening right here on eCinemaOne at subjectcinema.com also. And you can also check out our 2 weekly shows with new release lists. Tuesday Digidex on Tuesday and 3 Minute Weekend on Friday. Tuesday does the DVD releases and streaming releases, and Friday's 3 Minute Weekend does the new movies hitting theaters that weekend. We also have Platinum Rose's Garden, which is all supernatural from Kim, and Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie Lyon, doing movies, odd things to eat, and all kinds of stuff at cavebabble.com. We also want to remind you that we're in the middle of a new... we got a new thing going. We didn't know we would ever do this, but we need some new equipment, and we're coming to you to ask for some help. We've started a Patreon campaign at patreon.com/PNRNetworks. By contributing on a monthly recurring basis, you can help us reach our goals, help us improve our equipment, help us get a few new computer programs we need, and maybe go further than that. We have a lot of cool things in mind and a lot of cool perks to offer for your support, and we hope you'll come over and check it out. Remember, Patreon is like Kickstarter, but it's a monthly payment, and each level has its own amount of perks, and there's some really cool stuff, and we got some nether perks coming too. Some special stuff for special snowflakes out there.
That's not a good term.
Okay, it's not a good term. For special people who donate special things to us. So please, got a couple bucks to spare. Our smallest level is $2. We'd really appreciate it if you'd come over and give us $2 a month. Patreon.com/PNRNetworks. I think it's time to go.
I do too.
Got lots of other stuff. Be sure to check eCinemaOne every day for all the latest film news, reviews, all the latest awards news coming, and daily trailers and all that lot too. And don't forget to check out all of our shows every week. And for now,
I'm Kim Brown.
I'm TC Kirkham.
And we hope we can count on you to come back and count down our list with us.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Front Row 5 and 10 with Kim Brown and TC Kirkham.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.